I think that they're so funny. I think Inosuke's hilarious, just always
Yes.
ready to fight anybody and everybody.
All right, you're locked into another episode of the Amlia Podcast. My name is Josh, and we are super pumped for today's episode. But before we begin, I want to comment on this morning. I had my dreams and aspirations to have some good coffee, and it was stolen away from me. And I think nobody can explain why than Rebecca.
I'm sorry, Josh.
Well, okay, so I came downstairs. I was gonna have iced coffee, and it was like 8:30, I think.
Yeah, it was like 8:30.
Yeah, and I was gonna go to the French press, and it's like, oh well, I'm gonna use the French press. I'm going to the brunch with my family this morning while you're doing your work stuff. It's like okay, I'm just gonna use it. It's like no, like I need to go like now. It's like well, what am I gonna do for coffee? It's like oh, you had instant. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And they're like, oh, it's decaf.
This is just sick.
And then, so that was disappointment number 2. And then I was preparing myself for disappointment number 3, which is going to the fridge and finding out we didn't have any almond milk.
Which we did.
We did. We actually
plenty.
we had a full carton and one that's about to run out. Gosh. But how is town with your family with the babies?
It was really good. Yeah, it was a tea party that we did. So I was in charge of bringing the teapots, hence the French press. Which yes, you can use French press not just for coffee but also for tea. And then china as well because my sister was like, I don't have any china. So I brought teapots or teacups and saucers and things like that. So yeah, it was fun. It was really good though. We hung some stuff on our walls. They just moved into a new house, like 10 minutes down the road. So yay for that. It was really exciting.
Nice. Well, as I said, we both said at different points. We're really excited for this episode because we have number one, we're talking about a series that we really enjoy, really love, and we actually have a person that has a profession that we haven't had on the show before. So we have a young lady named Slay from her Instagram, Cosplay and Slay. So let me go ahead and bring her in. See if I can.
If we can.
Yeah. Hold on. I've got it. 3 shows right there. All right, and there she is.
Hey guys.
All right, how are you doing today, Slay?
Good. How about you guys?
Doing well.
Doing really good, yeah.
I see we're all decked out in our Demon Slayer gear again. So you have your Nezuko cardigan.
Yes.
And then Rebecca, you have your Tanjiro earrings.
Tanjiro earrings, yes.
My Demon Slayer t-shirt.
Woohoo! So I guess cat's out of the bag. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's Demon Slayer.
Yeah. So just in case nobody was aware yet. Or you didn't bother to read the title of this episode when you're listening or watching it.
Yeah.
So we want to get to know you, have our listeners get to know a little bit about you. Unfortunately, I did not upload the banners, but I do have the questions that we will ask you. All right. So Rebecca, if you'll go ahead and start off with the interview portion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, first of all, Slay, we want to get to know you just a little bit better. So tell us about your upbringing and your backgrounds. That's a really big question, I know, but tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So let's see. I grew up like kind of Lutheran-ish. I say that because we like kind of went to church and they like didn't go to church. And so it wasn't until high school that I got involved in, I think it was technically like a non-denominational church at the time. And that's kind of when I was saved and got to know Jesus. And then like further grew in my relationship there, kind of in like college and adulthood a lot more because it was like the later part of high school. I was like 17. So was the summer before senior year. So kind of like a different background. And then I got into anime. Let me think. I was like 21, 22 when I started watching it. So after that, I had some friends that liked it. So I started watching it. And I think I started with Death Note. Yeah.
Oh, that's a heavy one to start off with.
I know. I feel like so many people say that. So I like started with that one. I watched One Piece, and then my best friend was into anime at the time, and she was like, "You gotta watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood." So we like it was like fall, and like every Friday night we would get together and watch it, and that was really fun. And then it just went from there. So
Nice.
And then I got into cosplay around that time too. So I like I said, I watched Death Note, and then I started watching One Piece, and I was really into that. And I was like, man, Zoro is so cool. And I just had started hearing about cons, and so I convinced her to go with me. And I was like, let's go to con. And she was like, okay. So I was like, I'm gonna be Zoro, and I'm gonna figure this out. And she was like, okay, I'll be Luffy. And it was so fun. So again, went from there.
Nice. Sounds fantastic.
That's awesome. Also, I gotta say, I love your name from your the Cosplay and Slay. At first, when I saw it on there,
of course, she slays all the time. She's slaying every day, all day.
I thought it was talking about. And I was like, oh, that's a fun name. And I was like, oh, it's your name, Slay. I promise I pay attention when Josh tells me who we're talking to. For some reason, it just didn't stick.
And sometimes it's like, hey, Larry. It's not Larry.
No. Nope. Yeah. So you mentioned cosplay. What got you interested in doing cosplay? That's really cool.
Yeah. So also I just noticed that I typed cosplay wrong in the thing. So I'm just all out myself because I just realized I'm like, wow, I totally mistyped that when I typed it.
Well, the wonderful thing about this is
change that.
Oh. Hey. My mistake. So yeah, how I got into cosplay. I look back at it and I'm like not totally shocked now that I did get into it. So like growing up, I loved dressing up as a kid. I thought it was fun. I loved Halloween. It was like my favorite. I would like pick out my Halloween costume in like summer and like plan it out. And my grandmother on my dad's side is also really good at sewing, and so she would make a lot of my costumes when I was younger too. So she also has helped me learn a lot, even though I don't live super close to her. Growing up, she taught me sewing, and even now she'll like tell me tips if I ask for them. So that's really cool. But so I loved Halloween, loved dressing up. I remember like being into like Hannah Montana and being like, I want a wig just like her, and all sorts of stuff. So then in high school, we had like a group of friends and we all like dressed up to go see the Hunger Games. So it was like very low key. Like I wore like my mom's like leather jacket and braided my hair. And I was like, I'm Katniss.
Hey, that works.
It was still fun. Yeah. And so I've always liked that. And so once I started hearing about cosplay, like I started hearing about cons, like I said, I was an adult, like 21, 22. And I just started hearing about it. And I was like, that sounds so cool. That sounds really fun. I had gone to a con and like hadn't cosplayed, but I saw it and I was like, that is so cool. I want to do it. So that's when I was like, okay, Zoro, time to go. And so I just did a lot of like internet research. And like I said, my best friend came with me and we had like so much fun at the con. And I was like, this is so fun. It was really fun to like piece the outfit together and figure it out. And so then from there, I just kind of like ran with it the next time we did Full Metal Alchemist because that's what she liked. And my grandmother actually helped me modify my cosplay for that one, which was really special and really cool. And then since then, I've just kind of built on. Every time I find a new fandom, I'm like, I don't need to cosplay from it. And then I do. So, but I've slowly started to integrate like making some of my stuff or modifying items and things like that. So.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I bet you amassed a large wardrobe now of items.
Too many.
And while we're on that subject, we actually have a few photos here. So let's go ahead and go through one of these. So Rebecca is unfamiliar with this character. So Slay, if you'll go ahead and just explain who this is, who you're dressed up as.
Sure. So that's Botan from Yu Yu Hakusho. She is probably my favorite female anime character of all time. She's like so sassy, and I think it's so funny. And so my husband and I watched that one. I guess it was like summer of like 2021 when we watched it, and I just like fell in love with her character. And so I did make the kimono for that one. That's probably like one of my biggest items I've made. So
awesome.
Nice.
Right. And then we had this one again. Probably everybody who has seen this series is familiar with this. It is your.
I was gonna say I do know
family.
this one.
Yes, she's very popular now. Yeah, so your that one was easy. I thrifted the sweater for that one. So
okay.
Cool.
Hey, that works. That's
yeah, it was awesome. It was like $5, and I was like, "Oh, let's go! You're
done."
All right. And then this one is for those of you who have been keeping up with the latest Mario and Nintendo news. This is Princess Peach, but Slay, you thought your own spin on it. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So really, I just thought the idea of like Peach with pink boots would be really fun, and then I kind of ran from there with it. So I thought it'd be fun to give her like her own Mario inspired look. After I kind of like thought about it and looked, I found like some fan art, and I'd seen people that had done like similar kind of like drawings and stuff too. But yeah, same thing. I thrifted the overalls for that, so that made it pretty easy. And then I painted the hat and the shoes for those with acrylic paint. So that was pretty fun.
Nice.
Neat.
All right. Now, this one, people may notice who this is, but for those of you who may not, Slay, go ahead and tell us who it is and why you kind of went with this variation.
Sure. So that's Nezuko, and again, I took my own spin on that one. Too, I've done regular Nezuko before, but I really wanted to make kind of like that springy dress for her. And so I was able to find some fabric. Spoonflower has a bunch of it. And so again, lots of research on how to make this dress. But I really wanted to do like a spring and Easter look for her. So that's kind of where the hat comes from. It's hard to see in the picture, but I did the like pattern that her belt is for her kimono on the top of that. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to kind of put her in something cute and springy.
That's really fun. So
Nice.
do you use patterns when you create, like that was a new creation for her dress. Do you use patterns for that, or do you just like make patterns yourself? What's your process like?
Most of the time I follow a pattern because I'm not that skilled. In that case, I had started with one and it was not going well at all. I was like, this is a terrible pattern. I'm not tracking with it. It was like super complicated. And I had seen a lot of tutorials on how to make similar dresses. So I just kind of started doing my own like research, watching lots of YouTube videos, reading lots of like written tutorials on it. And so that one, I ended up kind of ditching the pattern and going based on the tutorials, which was a lot more of just like kind of like taking measurements and then going from there. And it's really easy because it's like literally a rectangle and then just like sewing it in different places and doing all the lines of smocking. So that was way easier than the way the pattern was trying to do it. So in that case, I kind of just followed tutorials. But yeah, I'm not good at just like creating a pattern on my own. Some people can do that, and I think it's so cool, but I'm not there yet.
It's impressive. Yeah, there's this one girl that I watch on YouTube. I forget her name, but Bernadette something. Anyway, she's like loves Edwardian, or is it? The Edwardian time period of particularly like English everything. So she's kind of like a fabric historian. She like creates her own patterns. It's impressive, all that she does. So yeah, I was like, I don't know if you're more towards that or what your process is. So that's really cool.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned going to cons. So how many cons have you been to?
Honestly, not as much for like as many cosplays. 2020 and all that kind of like killed it.
Yeah.
So there was a big gap in time where I didn't get to go to any. And then this past year, we were just like so busy. We ended up not being able to fit any in. We did like a 2-week missions trip with our church. Super cool. And so that was really fun. So that was kind of what a lot of like our vacation and stuff went to, but like it was amazing. I'd do it all over again. So we didn't go to any last year. So I'm trying to think. As far as like ones I've cosplayed to, let me think. I did 3 before 2020, and then we ended up doing 2 in 2021, and then we just went to one, GalaxyCon, just a few weeks ago. So only went like one day to that one, and same for I think the ones in 2021. But yeah, so like what is that, 5? I think.
Okay. Now,
It's more than us, so.
Now, do you just go there in cosplay, or do you participate in any of like the contest that they had? If they had the contest.
I've not done any of the contests. I just think it's kind of fun to dress up and go around and see everything. I've done like gone to some panels, and I think that those are really fun too. So I enjoy those. We went to some with the voice actors this past time, and that was really cool to see and listen to them. So
awesome. Now we've heard the cosplayers having a essentials bag when they go to cons. So what is in your bag?
So I non-cosplay items that I always take, water, because I can't go anywhere without water. Like I literally have my water right here. So yeah, water. And a lot of cons will usually let you like take in bottled water and stuff. So I take that. I also take a portable phone charger because that's always good. Like you want to take lots of pictures and everything, and that can drain your battery fast. So I take that with me. Then sometimes snacks, if you can take them in, because cons can be pricey. Or if you're like me and you have like allergies, then it's just easier to kind of like know what you can eat. And then let's see. Usually take like Q-tips and stuff for like makeup touch-ups, things like that. Extra wig caps just in case. Things like that. That would be my essentials.
Wonderful.
Nice. That's good to know, honestly, because we're I don't think we're going to be cosplaying because it's going to be so hot.
Yeah.
But there's one in the Nashville area that we're going to be going to in
Nashville
June.
Comic-Con. Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun.
So, and this is the only second year that they've done this, right, Josh?
Yeah, second year. So it's headed up by James Morrison. For those of you who don't know who that is, think back to the 90s. He was Eric's best friend on Boy Meets World. He did the voice of Max in a Goofy movie. He's done tons of other things. Anime related, he was the Hayaku in Spirited Away, the main guy in Spirited Away. And non-anime related, we just found out that good old Chuck Norris is going to be at the con. So, and people are asking, well, why? He's not. He's like, because he said so. That's why.
Because he's Chuck Norris. I don't know.
But yeah, I probably won't cosplay. But I mean, on the soon we'll see a lot of cosplayers there when we go.
I don't know. I might see if I can get like a little short kimono thing,
and anything very
like
light,
kind of like your sweater.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Yeah, something lightweight that's like, a nod at something, but not like full on, because man, that can get really hot.
Yeah.
You already have the earrings, so yeah, you could literally get like a Tanjiro kimono and you'd be good to go.
There you go. Done. Like I'm a fan. And then that's all we need.
All right, so it looks like our last question here is for anybody anybody that we have on who is a fan of anime, is a casual, or just loves anime in general. What are your top 5?
Always such a hard question. So recently, I would definitely put this in my top 5. But I started watching The Ice Guy and His Cool Female Colleague.
Yes.
It's so good.
I believe seeing on Instagram, it wasn't including the photos, but you cosplayed as Fujiwara?
Fuyutsuki.
Fuyutsuki, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too many
Yeah.
names. I love her. I love the whole show. It's so cute and it's so wholesome. So I would definitely put that in my top 5. Spy X Family, I'd put up there.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that one pretty quick. After that, I would say Jujutsu Kaisen. I really like that one. Attack on Titan, though I joke that every time that they make us wait longer for it to end, that it's going down on my list. So I'm like holding out. I have like not read the manga on that one. And I'm like waiting for it, but I do like that one. It's very like entertaining. One of those like I gotta know what happens next type of things. And then I always struggle with 5. I'm like top 3 easy. Once I pass that, it's always like so hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So I feel like I always switch up which one that is. So sometimes I'll say like Yu Hakusho because Botan's in it, but I'm really saying that because I love Botan and that's like my only reason for it. I would also say like kind of in that level, I would put like Demon Slayer. I really do like that one too. So that's another really good one.
Awesome. Well, while we're on the subject of Demon Slayer, let's go ahead and get into our discussion.
Yes, I'm super excited. Anyone who's listened to our previous episodes of Demon Slayer, we did one.
Well, okay, not so we did one. We did Mugen Train, and that was like way back.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, this is before we had this set up. We weren't doing video podcasts.
Yeah. Well, you should definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
Whoever's listening and hasn't heard it before, it was really good. Love it. Oh man. This is my top, I guess.
Well,
this is my favorite.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Rebecca has said on numerous occasions, like, if I could just sit down one afternoon, I could just watch the whole thing again. I mean,
oh yeah, at any time I could sit down and I could binge probably all of it.
Yes. So we are on the Swordsmith arc. This is the, you could say, season 4, roughly, because we had
season 3, right?
Well,
plus a movie.
Yeah, plus a movie. Yeah.
Fourth arc, right?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
So there you go.
And now, so you saw the movie. Well, again, it was really just the last 2 episodes of the Entertainment District arc, and the one
of the most recent
of the most recent Swordsmith.
Yeah.
And it's called Journey to the Swordsmith arc. That's what it was. And people were really upset. It's like, I didn't pay to see 2 episodes. Why would you call this a movie? It's like they told you.
You knew what you were getting into.
Yeah.
And you get to see the first episode before it actually comes out.
Dubbed, might I add. Because we all know that dub is like 3 episodes behind. Well, usually 3 weeks behind the sub. So
yeah.
Exactly. And we watched it dub. So that was like totally worth it to go get to see it early. So
yeah. I know. We love Demon Slayer so much that we have now watched all of it, both in subbed and dubbed.
Well, you want to see Mugen Train. It's like, I want to see it again. So we saw it.
We saw it twice in theater.
Yeah, we saw it subbed and dubbed. So yeah.
So good. It was a good movie.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite part of the experience of going to see it on the big screen? And yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was cool to see the first episode of like the new season on the big screen. I thought that was really fun. They said the first like part of it was the past 2 episodes. It was kind of like we had seen that. It was so fun to see it again. It was helpful because it had been so long since we had seen it. I was actually like, thankful in a way because I was like, I honestly forgot some of it. It had been so long. So I didn't mind it. It was just kind of recap. So I was definitely more excited to see kind of what was upcoming and seeing the beginning of that new arc. And I love seeing just Inosuke and Zenitsu, and even seeing them on the big screen was like totally worth it. It was so fun. And I love Kanao, and she was in a little bit of that too. So I was like, oh, my girl. So.
Is that her name? That's the Love Hashira, right?
No, that's Mitsuri.
Yeah. Kanao's what is she? She's like the really quiet one. she's not a Hashira. I'm trying to think.
Oh, yes, the butterfly with the side ponytail.
Yep, that's her.
Okay. Yeah, she showed a lot of emotion.
I know.
And like talked for herself and like made decisions. I was like, yay, improvement.
Her character growth, like watching her like progress throughout the seasons is like, I love it. I love watching her, and I think it's really cool. So
yeah, same.
Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the past few years and may not know what Demon Slayer is, just to give you a quick synopsis, it is about a young guy named Tanjiro, whose family is basically slaughtered by demons. His sister is infected and starts to transform into a demon, but she travels with him. She's been, I guess, hypnotized to see that humans are not, food or to be devoured.
Their family.
Yes. He teams up with two people named Inosuke and Zenitsu, and they go on the journey together to defeat demons and ultimately Master Muzan, who is the leader of the, I guess you could say, demon army. Now, while we're on that subject, the whole Infinity Castle opening on the so good. It kind of made you dizzy after that. And then just they definitely upgraded the animation on this.
It felt different. It felt like they were definitely using like a computer generated thing.
But
with the intricacies of the castle makes total sense, and it integrated well with the hand-drawn style, I thought, because sometimes you're like, oh, that's different, but it was really good.
With Demon Slayer, basically what we're kind of like talking about today is kind of being, well, we're all Demon Slayers if you're the leader. In Fury, and Jesus was the ultimate Demon Slayer. I think I did a blog post like way early on when we started. And someone like, well, how can you say we're Demon Slayers? It's like, well, if you believe in God and you're a Christian, then, guess what? So rise. But finding, the light in a world of demons, I love Tanjiro's just spirit and attitude towards everything, because he could have easily have been like, you're my sister, you're turning, there's no other way out, you gotta be killed, you gotta be decapitated. But no, his family is such an integral part to him, that I just and that's shown throughout the whole entire series, even through now. Just love his character in that regard. Becca, aside from Tanjiro, because you love Tanjiro, what is your other favorite character?
I do love Tanjiro. To me, Tanjiro is goals. Like, he's awesome. He's who I want to be. Like, the best parts of me is who he is. So he is my absolute favorite.
Is your a spirit animal or a spirit anime person?
I guess, if you want to say that. Favorite character. That's really hard to choose because there are so many fantastic characters. I love the four main characters, plus Tanjiro is included in that.
Right.
But Inosuke and Zenitsu are just fantastic in their own right. Just such comedic relief, and but such loyal friends, and they definitely have their own issues, but there's so much fun to watch all of them interact. And then of course Nezuko, who is she's adorable when she's in her like tiny form, so cute. But man, she can come out and just fight. I was one of the moments in the previous arc, the Entertainment District arc, where they're going through this whole long battle, and she's been absent for like most of the series, or for that season, and then Tanjiro's life is in danger, and all of a sudden she just she comes out with that little horn sticking out, and she's like,
and she is a ruthless.
she is. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. I think I audibly yelled. I was like, yay! Nezuko is here. So she's fantastic. She's I love her.
And Slay, what about you? Favorite character, characteristics?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's like the main four. Like I mentioned, I do like Canal too, so I guess she's not in the main four. But yeah, I agree. Like Tanjiro and like his heart is just amazing, and I could totally see just from like hearing you talk about your family earlier, like I can see why he would resonate with you a lot.
Yeah.
And so I like Nezuko. Same reason. Like she's so cute and adorable, but then at the same time, it's like when she's needed, she can like also fight, which I really appreciate. And then I just like again, comic relief is Zenitsu and Inosuke, and I just think they're so funny and like they're such good comic relief because there's so much like intensity going on in Demon Slayer, and then you just have like these kind of like funny characters that are just like helping you like kind of cope with it.
Yeah.
So I think that they're so funny. I think Inosuke's hilarious, just always
Yes.
ready to fight anybody and everybody. And then on the opposite side, you have like Zenitsu, who's like totally scared until he's asleep, and then he's like a total
Yeah.
boss.
Yes.
I think
He
that
is.
that's really cool too. So
Yeah. And Inosuke, especially in the first episode of the Swordsmith arc, they're like, yeah, he didn't make it. It's like, well, I guess that's not him on the ceiling.
I guess I'm just hallucinating. And they're like, ah.
And just found himself like he just, Tanjiro is just woken up at this point. He's like, yeah, Tanjiro, I woke up 7 days before you.
Yeah.
it's always
I'm better. And
Yep.
Tanjiro's like, good for you, Inosuke. I'm happy.
exactly. He handles him so perfectly too.
Yes.
Uh,
But in this arc, it appears that he's not going to be traveling with his usual crew. He's going to be, it looks like Mitsuri is going to be part of, the trio this
and
time.
then the Mist Hashira as well.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but whoever he is. I don't know.
But let's talk about the one scene in there. It's the hot bath.
Hot springs?
Hot springs, yes.
Also hilarious.
So again, Mystery is running down. She's very well endowed. And she's just running down, and Tanja's just so pure. He's like, "You're about to spill out." Like,
your breasts are coming out. She's like, whatever. So funny.
But yeah, again, just his genuine, just humble spirit comes out.
You can definitely tell he's got sisters, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now,
I thought you were going to mention the other hot spring scene.
Gosh, yes. The other guy.
Yeah.
Having a conversation, maybe not when you're naked. But
I thought we could bond through our nakedness. You're like, okay,
apparently not. No,
crazy.
No, apparently not. But yeah. So getting into kind of like back on topic with being the light in a world full of demons. Now, again, that doesn't just pertain to, demons. It also pertains like spiritual warfare and just the heaviness that we see, around us. I think I mentioned this in a couple episodes back, kind of like we're sensing that heaviness of all the unrest, civil unrest, global unrest. Becca, how do you think we can best, combat that?
The heaviness and the darkness?
Yeah. I mean, aside from, the obvious.
What would be the obvious to you?
Jesus.
Well, yes, obviously. I mean, honestly, being prayer warriors is the best thing. Because when you get into that prayer closet and you spend time with him, you're not going to be taken up with fear yourself.
Right.
Because that's huge. And then that peace that God gives you in that time, you can then go out and share with other people because they need peace. And honestly, to make a global impact, I think it's all about individuals going around. And I mean, if we all, gosh, just think about all the Christians, particularly in America. It's different, I think, overseas from what I've heard from people, that they're far more intense about their faith. And we're just kind of like lukewarm generally. That's a very broad generalization in America. And it's like, gosh, if we were all passionately on fire, like we really need to be, we would make so much more of an impact globally. But, the darkness is going to get even worse before it gets better in the world. But you don't have to let the darkness invade your heart. And that's the big difference there.
Kind of ran a little bit, humor to that. A little bit, I'll pop up a meme here in the edited version. But it was like it's like from an animated show. It's like Gen Z. Well, things get better. Millennials. That's the neat thing. They don't. But it's like kind of the same question for you. With all the heaviness and kind of just unrest, like how are you dealing with that, maybe combating that? How do you share your faith? Is it through cosplay? Is it through, kind of give us a...
Yeah, I agree. There is a lot of darkness. And to your point, I think, the older we get, the more we're like, man, this does not go away.
Yeah.
And it does sometimes only get worse, and it's hard to see. And Jesus is the hope. He is the light. And so, my biggest thing is just letting God use me in anything to help spread that light and share that light, because I just see so many people who, need that, who need Jesus, who need that hope.
Right.
And just trying to share that. I do try to do that through cosplay, especially during like Easter. I put up a couple posts trying to kind of spread the gospel and just kind of share that hope, because, I have seen how dark things can be, and like Jesus pulls me out of that. And so I definitely do try to do that, and to I guess share it with that community, because I think that and everywhere people need it. And I think so many times people can get focused on like hitting other nations and stuff, but we definitely need it here in America too.
Yeah. And to that, to what both of you had said, we in the States focus so much on, international missions and stuff that's outside the US. That's great. Yeah. We need to do that. Yeah. But really in America is where we have so many untapped groups that we just need to present. Again, that's why people go to cons. That's why you should just see people out on in different venues, trying to, when you're using a platform to have a megaphone and a sandwich board, that's not the best way to go about. They use the turn or burn method, and that just turns so many people off, in my opinion.
Turn or burn?
Yeah, turn or burn.
Like become a Christian, or you're going to burn in hell?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of a weird phrase.
From what I've seen, that's what I heard. Like when I grew up in the Pentecostal church, that was a big phrase that they used. When I was growing up, anyway. Yeah. Now, in regards to the whole fighting demons, Tanjiro goes up against a lot of them. In the last 2 episodes of the entertainment arc, the fingers, gosh.
Don't, no.
No, like when it brought back My Hero Academia vibes, when like Deko's like arm is just flopping around. It's like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Awful. and then seeing it on the big screen again,
yeah, it's like just intensifies it. Yes.
Oh gosh, yeah. When the demon goes and he like pulls back the finger and breaks it, you're like, oh, ouch. Just ouch.
But it's when that that particular Dean and his sister, allegedly, are down in the depths, I guess, purgatory. You could say,
awaiting their fate.
you
Yeah.
go in their fate, and obviously, it symbolizes, going to hell, or the void is what some animes would refer to it as.
Well, there's actual flames
Yeah.
in
So
this, so it's
yeah,
like very sort of hell-like in
yeah.
our Christian perspective. Yeah.
I thought that was like so interesting. You were surprised by that a little bit, like the whole meaning behind that scene, and
Yeah, it was
yeah,
very interesting because they were like talking about, well, the girl, I forget their names, but the sister, she was like, well, I'm going wherever you go.
right,
And the brother was trying to say, well, you're good. You're everything that's
yeah,
good in the world. And it was like, well, neither of you are good, but
you know,
it's yeah. Yeah. But they ended up, yeah, traveling together to go. It was like, what is good? What is worthy of being good? And it's just like, gosh, without so many people think that they can work their way to God, and that's just not how it works. We're all prone to do that in some way. I certainly do.
Mhm.
I sometimes get into this rut of where I think that I have to go on a certain number of missions or
Yeah.
serve at church and all these different areas or whatever, and that's what will make God love me or anything. And it's like, no, he loves me because he loves me, and I don't have to do anything. He calls us to good
He
works,
does, yeah.
but that's not what makes him love us.
And that's what kind of like turned me off from church for quite a few years growing up, because after high school, I had only attended Pentecostal church. That's kind of all I knew. I didn't go to any non-denominational churches or anything like that. So everything was like a checklist. Okay, I read that. Okay, I read this many verses. I read this many chapters. I went to youth group. Okay, I went to Sunday service, and just become, or like you get in a rut of like, okay, do I really want to do these things, or am I just feeling obligated to do these things out of habit? And there would be some days where I was just at church, just bored. It was like that Charlie Brown sound, want every Sunday for quite a bit. And I was just, and the pastor ratted on me. I was in the second row, just my Bible and just doing my phone like this through the pages because doing nothing else. And my mom came to me, she's like, yeah, Pastor did say, it's kind of like distracting. I was just bored. I didn't know what else to do. But so have you ever felt like that? Like growing up a Lutheran, like I've only attended like maybe one Lutheran service, but how do you think that differs from other?
So yeah, growing up Lutheran is like there's some things that I feel like they do good, and then there's other things that I don't agree with. So one of the biggest things for me, I guess, like once I was saved, is so like I was baptized as a baby, and there were like baby baptisms.
Right.
And so the more that I was like reading and attending, other churches, I was like, wait a minute, it's my decision.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's, saying I'm putting my faith and trust in Jesus. And so I need to make that decision. I didn't make that decision as a baby to get baptized. And so I got baptized. Again, I was in college. It was a little after I had gotten saved that I did that. But that was one of the like biggest things. But I agree, like there's so many different things in churches that I feel like unfortunately can like turn people away or turn people off, or like I agree, like the whole idea of like you have to be good and you have to meet a standard. Like I think that that's so hard, and I think that so many people struggle with that because it's like, well, I'm never gonna meet it, and you're not.
Yeah.
That's the gospel,
Yeah,
know.
it is.
And so I think that that's one of the hardest things is it's like, we're not gonna meet that. And so I think that definitely can kind of be something that people struggle with. and like you said, Rebecca, like still can, like, oh, I did this, oh, I did that. Like we all get in that. I can do that too. Like, oh, I have to do this. And it's like, no, like God still loves you. It's really his love that saves us. So it's nothing that we do. Like we should, because we love him, want to do things, but
yeah. So if anybody out there has a recipe for perfection, let us know. Newsflash, you won't. Now, going back to the Infinity Castle scene, we got to meet 6, 7 different like demons that we hadn't met before.
Yeah, these were all the upper rank.
Yeah,
demons.
the upper rank, and apparently, the more upper rank, the more freaky looking you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slay, what did you think about that light scene? It gave us like more like perspective of like the upper crust of the demon world.
It was super interesting to see, especially on the big screen. It's interesting to like. I thought it was fun to meet them and kind of see them. It's exciting to see like kind of what they're up against, what they're gonna have to do, like moving forward. And so I thought that was, kind of exciting. To your point earlier too, like it was that like entrance scene was really cool. I did think that was fun, but yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting how some of them were kind of like bickering with each other too. Like, I deserve your spot. I'm, better than you. Kind of watching that was interesting too. And watching how Muzan interacts with them and kind of the way that he treats them is really,
they say like dirt.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and here they are trying to like prove themselves to him, which I think is like kind of sad. And I think that's where, we see Tanjiro kind of has this like sympathy towards a lot of them.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He, sees, kind of where their hurt is. And I think kind of watching some of that scenes, you're like, wow, like they've been through a lot, like they're not great. They're not good people or good demons at all. But it's sad to see them try so hard to like please somebody who like they're never going to please.
Yeah, to me, that is the epitome of emotional abuse.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. To your point, Slay, with Tajiro kind of like having sympathy, we definitely see that like in the end of the last episode of the entertainment district arc, just like holding their heads or their faces, like them telling like the story of like this is how we were, this is how we got this way. Because
he covers one of their mouths at one point. It was like, stop! You don't say that.
Yeah.
You don't mean that.
Yeah.
You really don't.
Yeah, having sympathy towards a antagonist is not something that we see much of.
I think that's why I like Tanjiro so much too, is because he sees the bad things that they've done, the pain that they've caused, and yet he can see past that and see the goodness in them, that they were once human.
Yes.
And that they once had human emotions. And yeah, you see that at the end of every battle where he battles with a demon, even like in the first season, every time he battled a new demon, it was like he could feel their pain.
Right.
It just sees it. To me, it's like Jesus seeing into our lives of all the bad stuff that we do, the sin that we do. But he sees through that. He's able to look past what we've done and looks rather at who we are and who we belong to ultimately. And that's what makes the difference. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And on a little frivolous but lighter note, but also excellent note, the new theme song for this arc is a banger. I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's like she says we all slay.
Do people make that joke a lot now towards you?
Like, no, I mean, I'm actually kind of shocked that I don't get it more than I do. Yeah, like So yeah, I'm kind of shocked. I don't like. I get it sometimes, like, oh, that slays, but not always.
Okay.
Interesting.
Awesome. So kind of getting towards the end of our discussion here. Excuse me. Becca, any other points you want to make about the current arc that's going on, Demon Slayer in general?
Oh man, I can't wait until we learn more about the Komodo. I don't know, the like sun breathing, sun whatever. The other thing that Tanjiro does, not just the water style.
Right.
I forget what it does. Is the dance that his dad taught him, and like, what was that dream that he had?
Yeah, so that's what we were.
What was going on with that?
Yeah, so can you like give us any
Crazy.
insight? We don't know, because we were like kind of confused by that. Like, who is this guy? Is that Tanjiro? Is that his dad?
Yeah. Do you have any theories?
I read the manga, so I'm gonna
Okay.
stay silent.
Okay.
Yeah, don't tell us.
Yeah.
I'll just say, yeah. I mean, I remember going through that when I read the manga. Like, who is this, and like trying to figure it out. So yeah, I'm very excited for like what's coming and all that.
Nice. Yeah. Is the it looks like we're gonna get some answers, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Is the manga worth it to read?
Well, of course, Rebecca. Don't.
Well, okay.
You're gonna get a lot of angry emails now.
It's hard because like sometimes I'll like pick out, be like, I have to read the manga. I have to know what happens.
Right.
Like Attack on Titan, like I'm holding out. I'm like, I'm not gonna read the manga. Like I want to see it animated. And so I think that it's like, I guess up to you. Like if you're like, my husband isn't really into like the reading the manga. He just wants to know what happens and he likes watching it. He'll joke, like we'll finish something. He's like, I need to read the manga for that. But he like,
Yeah.
he
We'd said that quite a few times. Oh, I gotta read the manga, and we just never get around to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I liked it. I was like wanted to avoid like every spoiler.
Right.
So typically I'll read the manga if I'm like, I don't want things to be spoiled, or if I'm really, really invested into it. Then I'll read the manga. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good read. But if you're like, you want to see it animated,
Right.
But sometimes it's fun to like read it and then like get to rewatch it animated. That's also a really cool experience, which is kind of where I'm at with it now. So that's cool.
Very true. Yeah, I think that way about so I read webtoons, and the couple of them have been made into series. And so it was kind of fun to watch the like having read the webtoon and then seeing the series. I'm like, this is fun because this is how I imagined it in my head.
There was one. I don't know if you read that. The other one is on Netflix called Lookness, or.
Oh, I didn't read it, but I saw it on webtoons. I just never watched it or read it, or I started reading it. I don't know. It just didn't capture my attention.
Okay. No.
But I mean, the show might be good. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was an interesting concept.
Yeah, that was. All right. Well, we have enjoyed having you on, Slay. Give us a peek into kind of like the cosplay world. If people want to catch up with you, what you're doing, where can they find you?
Instagram, just at Cosplay and Slay. Super easy to find me there. That's pretty much my only platform right now. So, yep, Instagram it is.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think that we kind of need to like drop our Twitter, just because like we aren't like that active on there. Plus,
it's more of a political space at this point for people to yell at each other.
Yeah. So maybe it's best. I mean, we'll keep it. But I mean, I've basically just been doing like when I do it through social things like through Meta. It's just so easy to do 2 platforms at once. But yeah, so again, at this point, for those of you listening, we should be about 3 episodes or so into the Swordsmith arc. So again, Demon Slayer Sundays are back again. So super excited. And next month we will be starting our mental health series. So stay tuned for that. Got some guests lined up. Until next time, keep those halos shining and stay holy, my friends.